Welcome back to another emotional journey, my friends. Today, we're stepping into a night that changed history forever, the final 24 hours of the RMS Titanic. The ship of dreams, built with pride, sailed across the Atlantic as a symbol of human power and perfection. On board were over 2,000 souls, people chasing hope, love, and a better life. But destiny had different plans. In just one night, that floating paradise turned into a nightmare beneath the sea. So sit back, close your eyes, and feel every heartbeat of that final day. The day the ocean claimed its pride. April 14, 1912, morning. The world's grandest ship glided through the calm, blue waters of the Atlantic. The sun shimmered on its decks, and laughter echoed through its golden halls. For the first-class passengers, it was a floating palace, marble floors, chandeliers, and music that touched the soul. In third class, families dreamed of new beginnings in America. Everyone aboard the Titanic believed they were part of something eternal, a symbol of progress, a promise of safety. But destiny was quietly watching. In the radio room, ice warnings arrived one after another. The sea ahead was filled with danger. Yet the crew, confident in the ship's might, ignored the signs. One message read, "Large ice field ahead. Proceed with caution." But the Titanic sailed on, faster, prouder, unaware that time was counting down. By afternoon, the air grew colder. A soft mist danced on the water's surface. Officer Lightoller felt the chill and warned the captain. But Captain Edward Smith, nearing the end of his career, trusted the ship more than the warnings. He smiled faintly and said, "We'll be fine." Evening fell. The sky turned purple and gold as the sun dipped below the horizon. Inside, the dining halls sparkled with laughter. Men in tuxedos, women in diamonds, children running down the corridors, life felt perfect. The orchestra played Blue Danube, and couples danced like tomorrow would never come. But while the world above celebrated, the ocean below waited in silence. At 9 p.m., the Mesaba sent another urgent message, "Icebergs directly ahead." But the operators were busy sending personal telegrams for wealthy passengers. That single moment, of carelessness and pride, sealed their fate. By 10:30 p.m., the night grew eerily calm. The stars shone brighter than ever, reflecting on a sea so still it looked like glass. The lookouts took their posts high above the deck. They had no binoculars that night, a small mistake that became a deadly one. 11:40 p.m., the collision. A faint cry pierced the silence. "Iceberg, right ahead." The lookout's voice trembled as he rang the bell 3 times. The helmsman spun the wheel, and the engines reversed. For a brief second, it seemed they had avoided disaster. Until a slow, haunting sound echoed, metal scraping against ice. The iceberg tore open 6 watertight compartments. Water rushed in faster than anyone could imagine. Down below, the noise was muffled, passengers felt only a slight shudder, as if the ship had brushed against something. Some laughed, some went back to sleep. But in the lower decks, reality had already begun to drown. Thomas Andrews, the ship's builder, examined the damage. His face turned pale. He found Captain Smith and whispered softly, "She will sink, sir. It's a certainty." The captain's eyes filled with disbelief. The unsinkable ship was dying. 12 a.m., panic ignored. Orders were given to uncover lifeboats. But there weren't enough for everyone. Out of 2,200 souls, only about half had a chance to live. Still, many refused to leave. "This ship can't sink," they said. Mothers begged their husbands to come with them, but the rule was clear: women and children first. The band began to play music to calm the crowd. Gentle tunes floated through the freezing night air. The sea was silent. The stars, merciless. 12:45 a.m., the first lifeboat. It could hold 65 people, but only 28 climbed in. Many still didn't believe the danger. Those who stayed watched as the lifeboat lowered into darkness, unaware that they had just watched their last hope fade away. The ship's tilt grew worse. Water flooded the lower decks. Families were trapped behind gates. The cries began to echo, fear spreading like wildfire. Above, Captain Smith ordered distress rockets to be fired. The Californian, only a few miles away, saw the flares but assumed they were celebration fireworks. No one came. 1:30 a.m., chaos. The Titanic's bow sank deeper. The cold air cut like knives. Men prayed, women screamed, and children cried for their fathers. The rich and poor stood shoulder to shoulder, class no longer mattered. One survivor later said, "That night, the world became one, rich and poor, all equal before death." The orchestra played their final hymn, "Nearer, my God, to Thee." Their music drifted across the water, a melody of farewell to a dying dream. 2 a.m., the end approaches. Captain Smith stood silently on the bridge. He knew it was over. Thomas Andrews was last seen in the smoking room, staring at a painting of the sea. The ship groaned, a sound so terrible, so human, as if it didn't want to die. 2:18 a.m., the breaking point. With a deafening roar, Titanic's massive hull split into two. The stern rose high, and for a brief second, it stood against the night sky like a monument of pain, then it plunged, disappearing forever. More than 1,500 souls vanished into the icy water. The cries lasted only minutes. Then, silence. 3 a.m., the ocean sleeps again. The lifeboats drifted quietly. Survivors watched as the sea returned to stillness. The stars reflected on the surface, mocking the tragedy below. Hours later, the Carpathia arrived. Only around 700 people were pulled from the sea. The rest, lost forever in the cold embrace of the Atlantic. The Titanic was gone. But its story had only begun. The Titanic wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol of human pride and fragility. In just one night, the ocean reminded us that no creation of man can defy nature. But within that darkness were stories of courage, sacrifice, and love that will live forever. The Titanic may rest beneath the waves, but her voice still echoes, a whisper that says, "Be humble, be kind, and never forget the power of fate." If this story touched your heart, my friend, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because history lives on when we remember it together.